All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're tackling something you've probably heard debated endlessly if you're in the AI space: fine-tuning versus RAG. People love to talk about them like they're in some kind of competition. So let's cut through the jargon, dive right in, and see how they actually differ, and why smart engineering teams rely heavily on both.
So, whenever our AI isn't quite hitting the mark, our first instinct is usually, okay, do I fine-tune it or do I use RAG? But honestly, that's the wrong approach. What we really need to be asking to get to the root of the problem is simply, what kind of change do I actually need? To understand why that question is the absolute key to everything, let me show you a real-world scenario that makes this super clear. Think about it like this. Imagine you're running a super busy bakery. You've got regulars who want the exact same fresh naan every single morning, but then you get these custom orders, maybe less salt, extra sesame, or something totally off menu. You can solve that bottleneck in two completely different ways. On one hand, you could take the time to retrain your whole team on a brand new dough recipe, permanently rewiring how they work. Or you just keep their baking process exactly the same, but hand them a sticky note every morning with the daily special requests. That choice right there, rewiring a permanent habit versus just handing over a daily cheat sheet, that is literally the exact difference between fine-tuning and RAG.
Okay, let's break these down one by one. Fine-tuning. This is all about changing the model's core behavior, its skill or its style, by teaching it a new pattern. It's basically an internal habit change. Think of a newly hired bookstore employee. They practice for weeks, right? But they aren't just memorizing random book titles. They're mastering the vibe of the store, nailing their tone and how they recommend things. You really shouldn't picture fine-tuning as uploading facts into a brain, like dragging files into a folder. Instead, it's about using repeated examples to shape what feels natural to the model. We're nudging its internal instincts toward a very specific, repeatable pattern.
Now, flip the script to RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. This works completely differently. RAG is all about giving the model access to fresh, external information right at the exact moment it needs a fact. Let's go back to our bookstore employee. Instead of sending them to weeks of tone training, RAG is basically handing them a live catalog to keep behind the desk. They don't have to memorize fluctuating prices or stock levels, they just look it up on the spot. So RAG doesn't teach the model everything in advance. It just says, hey, before you answer, go check this specific document. It is purely an external reference tool.
So, the big takeaway here is that training a model on the inside and having it look stuff up on the outside are fundamentally different types of upgrades. To put that into perspective, it's the difference between memorizing your home address, which is locked permanently in your head, versus pulling out your national identity card to check an exact ID number. Both actions help you answer a question, sure, but the mechanisms? Totally different. An AI can either absorb a pattern into its very code, or it can be handed a document to consult on the fly. They aren't even playing on the same field.
Listen, if you only remember one single thing from this entire explainer, make it this. Fine-tuning changes the reflex. RAG changes the reference. I absolutely love this anchor because it makes a really abstract concept so incredibly concrete. A reflex dictates how a model naturally reacts without thinking. A reference tells it what outside evidence it should lean on to build its answer. Keep this little mantra in your back pocket as we get deeper into how these actually function.
Let's zoom back in on fine-tuning for a second. We have to remember that an AI model isn't just a giant hard drive of facts. It is a pattern machine. Imagine a super busy tea stall. The owner doesn't just need their staff to know that tea exists. They need them to know how strong to brew it, how much sugar the regulars usually like, and how to keep that serving style lightning fast and consistent. Fine-tuning drills in those exact patterns. You use it when you need the model to reliably act in a specific way. It's all about the how of the behavior, not just reciting facts. On the flip side, let's shift back to RAG. Why do we even need this external setup? Well, because some information honestly has no business being permanently baked into a model. The world moves fast. Products change. Policies drift. New data drops every second. If an AI only relies on its internal memory, it's going to sound super confident while giving you totally outdated junk. It's like a doctor. A great doctor doesn't treat you purely from memory. They check your chart, your history, your latest test results, your current meds. Reading that chart doesn't make the doctor fundamentally smarter in general. It just grounds their expertise in your current reality. That is exactly what RAG is doing for AI.
Okay, let's look at them side by side, because the contrast here is just night and day. With fine-tuning, your input is training examples, right? And what that improves is style, skill, and consistency. It's built for repeated patterns. But with RAG, your input is retrieved documents. That improves accuracy, grounding, and freshness. It is built for changing facts. What this table really exposes is the hidden truth here. Fine-tuning is an internal brain upgrade, while RAG is strictly external scaffolding. Once that clicks, honestly, a lot of complex AI design decisions become incredibly easy.
But here's the crazy part. Despite this clear difference, people still treat these two like they're just interchangeable features. And the absolute biggest mistake you can make is using fine-tuning when what you really lack is facts, or using RAG when the model's actual behavior is the problem. Doing that, it's literally like trying to fix a noisy ceiling fan by putting a fresh coat of paint on the wall next to it. I mean, sure, you're putting in a lot of expensive effort and you change something visible, but you completely miss the actual problem.
So, when you're in the driver's seat, designing or evaluating one of these systems, you gotta flip your mindset. Stop vaguely asking, hey, how do we make this model better? Instead, ask yourself the golden question. What exact kind of bad answer are we actually trying to fix here? You have to diagnose the symptoms before you blindly prescribe a cure. Let's look at how we actually do that diagnosis in the wild.
Here's your cheat sheet for spotting the difference. Let's say you're testing a customer support bot. If this bot is spitting out answers in this weird robotic tone, or it handles the exact same inputs totally differently every time, well, that points to an internal behavior issue. The reflex is broken. Boom, you need fine-tuning. But if the bot sounds incredibly smooth and professional, yet confidently quotes a telecom policy from 6 months ago, that's a missing knowledge issue. The reference is outdated. And that points straight to RAG.
Now you might be thinking, wait, what if my bot needs that perfect company tone and the absolute latest facts? Well, yeah, welcome to the real world. Real tasks usually demand both. Underneath it all, both of these methods are just tools to wrangle uncertainty. In serious business systems, they aren't rivals, they're partners. Step 1, you fine-tune the model so it naturally speaks your brand's language. Step 2, you hook up RAG so it's always pulling the freshest internal docs. Fine-tuning handles the vibe, RAG handles the facts, and together, they cover each other's blind spots perfectly.
So, let's tie a bow on this with a super simple decision framework. We really don't need to argue about which method is more advanced. Again, wrong question. Just use this checklist. Do you need the model to behave differently? Think fine-tuning. Do you need it to pull fresh, trusted facts the exact second it answers? Think RAG. Need both? Use both. This right here is the exact zero-jargon mental model you need to confidently diagnose and fix AI issues from here on out.
So the very next time you're looking at an AI system that's acting up, or you're stuck in a meeting where people are just throwing around tech buzzwords, I want you to cut right through the noise. Ask this one simple, provocative question. Is this system trying to learn a pattern, or is it trying to look up a source? If you can answer that, you've basically mastered the core of fine-tuning versus RAG. You've got the map now. Go out and design with absolute confidence. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. I hope it brought some real clarity to your learning journey.